Hey everyone, welcome to Anaheim Park Tours. Today we're answering your questions about the reopening at Disneyland. We've created a list of questions and we're going to read them off and answer them.
First question is, how is the entry process? Are they checking IDs?
And we didn't experience an ID check ourselves. However, if you click on My Disneyland and go to profile, our address is actually registered as Northern California. So we've heard of other people having their IDs checked, so just be prepared.
Yeah, always have your ID just in case. It seemed like it was maybe a random check that they're doing, so you just never know. The next question are, were there any changes to security?
No, it's pretty much the same since Downtown Disney reopened. First you go through a temperature check. After that you go through a canine screening. Then somebody physically looks through your bag, and then after the bag check, it's a metal detector, and then you're off to the parks.
Yep, it was really quick and easy and super well organized. Next question was rope drop. Is there an actual rope drop? And no, there isn't. So in our experience, they let us in early and they let you kind of disperse all throughout the park. In our experience, we went straight to Space Mountain not expecting it to be open, and it was, so it was a total bonus. We've heard not all the attractions are running, so it's kind of going to vary day by day, but they don't want large groups of people gathering up, so they're going to let you kind of go throughout the whole park wherever you want to go. Next is dining reservations. So dining reservations do open up 60 days out, and it's a rolling window, so if you really want a table service reservation, make sure you're keeping an eye on the date and that you're checking constantly because they do go fast.
If you missed your opportunity, just constantly check the app and maybe you'll get lucky.
Yeah, especially closer to your trip, a lot of people might cancel, and they are opening at midnight. So midnight, 60 days prior, it'll open up. So if you want to stay up late, you can get those reservations in. The next one was, what was the longest line that we waited in, and which rides had the longest waits while we were there?
Yeah, Haunted Mansion, every time we got in line for Haunted Mansion, we got asked the question, are you okay with going downstairs? Answer yes. And you end up skipping the stretching room. Mm-hmm. And then you go kind of behind the scenes, I guess, and then you end up going coming out to where the portraits are.
The changing portraits. It was really cool. I've always wanted to see what was back there and how that all works, and that was by far the coolest thing for me.
Yeah, other than Haunted Mansion, I would say Indiana Jones and Space Mountain had about a 15-minute wait.
Pirates was pretty consistently long all day, but it moved really fast, and when we rode it, the line moved super fast, so it wasn't too bad. That leads us to the indoor queues. How are they handling that?
Pretty simple. You really don't queue up a whole lot indoors.
Yeah, we had to keep reminding our kids that yes, the line seems long, but as soon as we enter the indoor portion, we're never going to stop. We're just going to walk straight onto the ride, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you may queue up for a minute because I think they have a 15-minute limitation on indoor queuing. I don't know the exact limitation anymore, but you pretty much just walk right on each time.
Indy, we just completely walked all the way through the whole indoor queue, all the way up into the ride.
Now, it does take away well-themed queues like Indy. It does take away a little bit of the mood and the ambiance before you get on the attraction. I will say that. However, it is neat walking on.
Yeah, just to walk right on was pretty awesome. And same with Pirates. As soon as you open the building, as soon as you get to the building, you walk straight through and they ask you how many in your party and they seat you in a boat and you're on your way. Next question also has to do with attractions, and that's how many people per ride vehicle, and are there plexiglass dividers?
Yeah, and what we had to talk about this to remember a little bit, and what we remember, we'll use Space Mountain as an example here. One time there's four people in our party, so Space Mountain, we were in rows 1 and 2 a couple times, and then was it 4 and 5 the other times?
Yeah.
And I think there's 6 rows, and pretty much they put a couple rows separation between everyone, And obviously there's bigger parties, there's some leeway there.
Big Thunder Mountain was one group per section of the train. So I think each section had 3 rows. So for instance, we're 4 people, we had all 3 rows, even though there's only 4 of us. So we only took up 2 of the rows and the other row was empty.
And it was the same for Pirates. It's very similar to Walt Disney World, where there's a group in the front and a group in the back.
Indy, it was the front row and the back row, and is plexiglass
Unfortunately.
in between the rows. Same for Rise of the Resistance. They sat everyone in the ride vehicle, but there's a plexiglass divider. We finally got to ride in the very front, so we didn't have plexiglass for one time.
Yeah, now I'll show a clip of what it looks like, plexiglass versus non-plexiglass. It's better to be in the front if possible.
Yeah, it is a little bit distracting. It's not too terrible. It's not as bad as I thought, but it would be nice without it. I totally understand why they have it. The next question is Rider Switch. Is that available? And yes, it is. Each attraction is different. So if you plan on utilizing that, just go up to the cast member at the entrance of the attraction and they'll let you know the exact procedure to do that. Mobile ordering. A lot of people had a lot of questions about mobile ordering. In our experience, it was awesome. We were able to mobile order before we even scanned into the park. We thought, hey, we're standing here in line, let's mobile order everything.
Or let's see if it works. And it worked.
It worked. It was great. We didn't have to worry about it throughout the day. We were concerned because at Disney World, it does seem to fill up really quickly. Right now, with the lower capacity at Disneyland, it does not seem to be filling up quite as fast.
Yeah, most places are roughly about a half hour's wait. Some are near instant, but most are a half hour.
And the most popular were Tropical Hideaway, the Mint Julep Bar, and Ronto Roasters. So we've been checking throughout the week since we left as well to kind of see if that continued to be the case.
Yeah.
And those are the 3 most popular, it seems like. So if you want a Dole Whip or a mint julep and beignets, you might want to think about ordering those earlier rather than late. Also, they're really well organized with the mobile ordering, and they usually have at least 1 or 2 cast members out front to help you with the mobile ordering. And a couple of times we were a little early for our window and they asked, hey, do you have mobile order? And I said, yeah, but we're, 10 minutes early. And they'd say, oh, no problem. What's your reservation number? And they type it in and check us in early. So, if that's always an option too, if you get there a little bit early, always ask, hopefully they can continue doing that. But it's worth a shot if you're hungry and you don't want to wait around an extra 10 minutes.
And we actually had an incident where the mobile order said we checked in and we never did.
Yeah.
And the really nice thing with having the cast members out in front, they can see all the orders by the order ID number. We just provided that number and they were able to refund us, and then we placed a new order and then they upped our place in the queue to let us go back in.
Yeah, because I think it was around 3 o'clock and the next window for Tropical Hideaway was at 5, but they said, don't worry, just order it for that time and we'll bump you up in the queue since there was an error.
Yeah,
and that was awesome.
So if you have a problem, they'll work with you, which is great.
Super helpful, yeah. The designated dining area. So if you've been following the California guidelines, that was one of the big items on the list that you have to eat and drink in a designated dining area. For me, that was my biggest concern because I did not know how they were going to do that at Disneyland. And I was worried that it would be either super crowded, really hard to find, we'd be dying of thirst and couldn't find somewhere to eat or drink. And I worried for no reason. It was amazing how many benches and tables and chairs they've added throughout the park. They're all labeled as a designated dining area. The whole curbs on Main Street are all labeled as a designated dining area. We're assuming because of Gibson Girl Ice Cream is open, so you can grab your ice cream cone, walk right out to the curb and start eating it. Don't have to worry about it melting and dripping everywhere. I was really pleasantly surprised how much seating they've added, and it's all really well labeled. And at the 25% capacity, we never had one issue at all finding anywhere to sit down and take a quick drink or eat a snack. It was really a non-issue. Also, free ice water. So we went opening day on April 30th. It was very hot. It was 90 degrees. we did not pay for bottled water all day long. Anytime we got a mobile order, we would ask for water. So we got it at Jolly Holiday. They actually had a whole separate table off to the side with large cups of ice water and small. At Bengal Barbecue, the next day I asked for water. Jim was able to get water at Starbucks. And even at the Mint Julep Bar, I asked for water. So you just have to ask nicely and they'll give you free ice water. And we would all drink it and then refill our water bottles with it. One of the big questions we got was the Rise of the Resistance boarding group procedure. So I think everyone kind of knows there's 2 times to get the boarding groups.
7 and noon.
We highly recommend setting an alarm because we were so caught up in the madness of getting in line. We totally missed the 7 a.m. boarding group on Friday and kind of freaked out because we pretty much thought we weren't going to get on that day and thought, oh man, we blew it. But definitely set an alarm, maybe just like a couple minutes before so you're aware and you can get prepped for it. It's a really easy process. It's just a little nerve-wracking because everyone's trying. So we just hit join boarding group from the homepage in the app. And our advice from Disney World and then again at Disneyland is you just keep hitting join boarding group. So
it's 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. So as soon as, like, I just watched the time on my phone, and as soon as it clicked over from 6:59 to 7, I just hit join boarding group, join, because you hit it once, then it will have your party, and then you hit it again, and then you have to confirm. So from what I've read, your party should be automatically selected. If they're not automatically selected, I would try to just do it as quick as possible because I've read if not everyone is selected, you can go to a cast member after the fact and they can add in that person. But what we found was the first day I was able to get the boarding group and he wasn't. So
and I had aired out.
Yeah, it aired and it didn't have them selected. And then the second day he got the boarding group and I didn't, and that happened to me. So I think if multiple people are trying and you can't get it, it's probably because the other person in your group has already gotten the boarding group. What is shopping like now?
I'll let Crystal answer this one.
I'm not a big shopper, but I found it really enjoyable to walk through the store, not be shoulder to shoulder with other people, not having to wait to look at the merchandise that you want to look at because other people are looking at it, not being squished in by people with strollers. It was really nice. So they do regulate how many people go in and out. They do have cast members kind of keeping track of that. Throughout the day, we never had an issue going into a store. We could just walk right in and shop, and even in Star Traders and Tomorrowland and the Emporium. So that was really great. It did seem like a lot of people waited till the end of the day to do their shopping, which I kind of get that too, because you don't want to carry around your stuff all day. But that line does get long, so if you are planning on waiting till the end of the day, just know that you're probably going to have to wait in a queue.
Yeah, we went to April 30th and May 1st. I didn't pay attention to the line on April 30th, but on May 1st, the line was all the way to City Hall to get into the Emporium.
Savvy's and Droid Depot open at Galaxy's Edge, and yes, they both are. You do need a reservation for Savvy's. Droid Depot, I think you can just walk in, and probably depending on how crowded it is. Next up is lockers. Are there lockers available? No, not in the parks. There are lockers in the Esplanade that are available, but do be aware that they don't leave your stuff in there all night.
We read a crazy story where someone left their merchandise in the locker. They were thinking that the lockers were available until Downtown Disney closed, and they're not. Once the parks close, there's a certain amount of time, and whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, we don't know offhand, but a third party comes through and actually clears out all the items in the lockers. So make sure when the park closes,
you
grab your stuff. Even if you have a Downtown Disney dining reservation after the park closes, get your stuff out of the lockers in the Esplanade.
Oh, next up was something really interesting, and that was the birthday buttons or the celebrating buttons. And City Hall is currently closed. There are cast members out front to help you with any type of questions, but they aren't giving out buttons. But I did read a lot of people were able to get buttons in the stores, and that's where I've been able to get buttons a lot in the past, pre-COVID. When you're checking out, just let the person checking you out know that it's your birthday or you're celebrating something, and they usually have buttons right there. So that's always an option if you're going for a special event or your birthday. This is a big one. Are there shows? Are there fireworks? Are there cavalcades like at Walt Disney World?
And no, Fantasmic is not running at this time. There's no fireworks. World of Color is not running. There are no cavalcades, and we're kind of shocked. We expected to fully see cavalcades, and not once did we hear the music turn up and see a cavalcade drive by, and we were a little shocked about that.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised about that, but
the character interactions are actually way better than what we experienced at Disney World.
They were really awesome. The characters were super animated and a lot of great interactions.
You are a lot closer to the characters than at Disney World. Usually at Disney World they were perched high up, and you just really couldn't interact with them. I interacted with Mickey Mouse at Mickey's house in Toontown, and he was telling me he had a lot of mail stacked up. Alice from Alice in Wonderland was at Small World area, and I was able to wave hi to her, and she responded, and she was interacting with a bunch of children.
We also saw Tigger there. The Fab Five were all in Town Square at the train station.
Plus Chippendale.
And you still can access the train station even with the characters there. You use the side stairways instead of the front stairway to get to the train. So I've seen that question asked as well. But the characters are all there. Pretty much every time we walk by, characters are out. I was pretty amazed.
Right, and Tiana was in New Orleans Square at the Dream Suite.
Yes.
And we thought that was pretty spectacular because we were not expecting to see characters in that area because of the narrow walkways. And Minnie Mouse was at her house as well in Toontown, and we just thought the character interactions were exceptional and more accessible than normal times.
Next question is, what was the most different for you this trip?
And the one big thing that stands out to me are the crowds. It was really nice not being in a constant logjam of people.
Yeah, and for me, it was how quiet the park was. So, of course they're playing music and everything just like they normally have, but there wasn't like this loud buzz of all the people talking, so it was like I could really hear the music and enjoy it, and it was really quiet. And another thing for me, especially being a woman, was not ever having to wait in line for a restroom the entire time. Actually, a lot of the times when I was in there, I was the only one, or maybe one of 2 or 3 other women in the entire humongous bathrooms.
Yeah.
So that was really, really nice to not ever have to wait. Overall, yes, it was a little bit different. Wearing masks is a little bit different in general in life, but it was still super fun, really enjoyable. We made a lot of great memories, and we're very happy that we went.
If you have further questions, feel free to ask us in the comments below, or you can reach Crystal at Instagram or myself on Twitter. And if you really like this content, give us a thumbs up. It helps us out quite a bit. And thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.